Let's start on this neck. I'm going to be using a lot of the same techniques and tools that I talked about in my video about how to clean a really dirty fretboard. There's a link to that video in the description if you're interested. For starters, we can see that there's blue paint all over the place, besides all the dirt, or DNA as one guy on YouTube calls it. So first thing I'm going to do is hit it with some mild cleaner. I don't expect it to actually remove that stuff, but I'm going to leave it for a few minutes and hopefully it will loosen it up to the point where we can remove it. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. See if anything loosened. I didn't expect the paint to come off just from this, but I'm hoping it at least got a little saturated so that I can bring it up, take it off with my other tools in a moment. Sorry about bumping the camera there. All right, now I'm going to take the point of my fid and go to work on this stuff. If you saw that video, you remember this thing is called a fid, F-I-D, but if you go looking for one online, you want to specify a stained glass fid. Otherwise, there's a certain part of some kind of ship that is also called a fid, and you might end up with something that takes up your whole backyard if you don't specify stained glass. And this is not working. So, looks like I may have to resort to the razor blade trick. I'll be right back. The video that I watched about doing it this way said just drag it across. That paint, those paint specks, are actually down in the rosewood. The paint has filled in the little gaps in the wood here. I don't know if you can see. This thing isn't focusing very well. Let's see if we can fix that. I'm having trouble with my camera. I'm sure you can see that. Okay, hopefully that's better. But right along there, oh, this silly thing. Right along there is where there's little bits of grain that's exposed, and the paint has gotten down in them. So I'm not too worried about that because I fully intend to sand this thing once I'm done with a basic cleaning. But it is frustrating that whoever painted this thing blue didn't bother to protect the neck at all, and apparently just splashed paint willy-nilly all over the place. Why would you do that? Or what kind of careless person doing a halfway job does something like that? I'm going to try and fix my focus here just a moment. Okay, that looks a little better. At least until my hand gets in here and the autofocus starts trying to track it. Supposedly I have that sort of thing turned off, but this is a very old camera and not everything works. I've mentioned before, I keep it because of this. That is the remote control that allows me to operate it from my chair. You don't know what a difference that makes when you're a one-person operation. Because, as you may also know, I had a knee replaced last year. it's still giving me some trouble, which it shouldn't be. And getting up and going back and forth to turn the camera on and off, my knee would not like that. And usually there isn't anybody else around who could operate the camera for me. These frets are nice and dinged up too, as you can see. I'll definitely be polishing them. I will be sanding this fretboard once I get this stuff taken care of. I have some 400 and some 1200 that I'll be using, and hopefully we can get this back in shape, because this rosewood looks to be in pretty decent condition. I'm assuming it's rosewood, it's the right color. Beyond that, you couldn't fill a thimble with what I know about different woods. The only guitar I have that has a maple neck is my Telecaster. And I was beginning to doubt, because I've been having some trouble with it. I've been having some trouble playing it and doing some things with it. But after watching several videos about how to do this, I discovered that the problem was most likely the fact that the neck is lacquered and nice and glossy on the back, and that tends to make my hands stick. So I'll probably be making another video down the line where we take care of that. Okay, I'm almost to the end of the paint stuff, so once I get past that, I shouldn't need this razor blade anymore. It is, I don't know if you can see the edge, but it's filling up very quickly with gunk. This poor thing. But we're going to try to give it a new lease on life. About the only thing I can think of that is sadder than a guitar that's been abused this way is a human or a pet that's been abused. The guitar isn't a living thing, so it doesn't have feelings. We have them for it. Alright, I think that's as much as I need to do with the razor blade. Let's go ahead and now we'll go back over it with the plastic tools and a little bit of cleaner here. I have my little scraping tool here. This thing actually came out of a kit that has tools for fixing cell phones and other small electronic equipment like that, but it works very nicely for this. Get right up against the frets. Nice thing, this thing has a fine enough point on it that I don't actually need the fit. So, if you can't find a fit, get yourself one of these things. What's it called? I don't know. As I said, it was in a cell phone repair kit. So, and what is coming off of this fretboard that I just wiped off of this tool is green. So, yeah, think there's been some neglect issues. Yeah, there you go. Isn't that lovely? We got a nice gouge there. Moving along. Get her nice and clean here. And I'm just wiping this off with a tissue. So, I'm sorry I keep bumping the camera. This is very close work here, and I'm trying to make sure that the camera is down close enough and focused well enough that you can see what's going on. But that also means a couple of things are very close to my hand, and sometimes I run into them. So, put some cleaner on the rest of it. And we'll roll right along. Flip it around. I don't remember where I left off, so I'll just pick one. If I do one twice, oh darn. Very, very dirty.
Dirty, 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 dirty.
I can feel lots of flaws in this wood too, so it may take more of a sanding than I expected. But we will jump off that bridge when we get to it. All right. Now I'm going to hit it with this foaming cleaner again. Let that set for a bit, and then we'll come back and wipe it off and see what we end up with. And here we are. As you can hear, we have a friend up above. He buzzes around here pretty much every day, and sometimes when he gets close to us it makes recording quite interesting, which is to say I have to sit and wait for him to go away. Got our microfiber cloth here to wipe it off with. If you wear glasses and you get your glasses at a place like Costco, they'll usually give you one of these with a new pair of glasses. We have probably a dozen of them lying around the place, and they do come in handy. Well, it ain't perfect, but it's a lot better. So I think next, now that that's cleaned up and ready to be sanded and probably put some fresh oil on it, I think the next step is going to be to sand this down. We have multiple holes here, which tells me this has been mounted on at least 2 different bodies. And other than that, it appears to be in pretty decent shape. The headstock, let me zoom out a little bit. So you can see the whole thing. The headstock has a couple of issues. We've got a nice big ding there. We have another one there. That corner there, I'm not sure what I can do with it. We also have some of our good old blue paint clear up here. That corner I'll have to sand down, and I'm not sure how. There's all kinds of chipping and stuff along here. And this is probably the worst. Do you have to do that right now? I'm sure he can hear me. Because that's been dragged or something. I have no idea what could cause that. Other than that, here on the back side, we have holes galore around the tuning machine holes, which also suggests to me that at least 2 different sets of machines have been on this. Somebody had a little trouble with that. This very top of the hole is a little bit out of round, you may be able to see, but it's only just at the top. The rest of the hole is okay. So, but if I have to ream these, I have to ream them. Over here we got 2 different holes that go all the way through. I'm really not sure what those are for. Then over on this side, we've got a couple right down here by the nut. Actually, those and that are probably the truss rod cover, which I'll have to find one. And then we've got a couple of holes over here and one there. I'm guessing string trees, but not knowing anything about this, I don't know. I have no way to be sure. So that's my best guess. If you got a better suggestion, put it in the comments. I'm very interested. I'm also going to be sanding all the lacquer and stuff off of this headstock, and we'll just completely refinish this neck. I'll sand all the lacquer off. Then I'll be using my power sander to smooth some of these out and try to get it looking fairly smooth and even. And then we will put another finish on it. So that's the neck. The next step is going to be to get my sander and get started. So here we go.